We got a brand new Ghosts of Tsushima update coming in at 3.4 gigs. That includes some fixes, but also a big secret change that was predictable, but that Sucker Punch did not tell us about. Plus we now know that the raid is coming on October 30th, so next week already. And I collected all the info that we know so far about this challenge. And I also want to look at the new nightmare missions that just became available. So let's get into it. A like on the video would really help the channel out. And let's go. Let's start with the new 1.13 update that resolved some of the network pop-ups that I know a lot of people had frequently, so that is great. If you have the platinum trophy, you of course get the platinum die for the ghost armor as a reward, but first it would not show up in New Game Plus after you started the mode. Well, that has now been fixed, so you can find it in your inventory now. And by the way, if you didn't know, this platinum die also transfers over to the Legends mode for the Assassin class, so you can showcase it there too. Some people would get stuck in the Legends tutorial, well that should now be fixed, and they also added support for the PlayStation Network Players Med feature. You can by the way find that in the friend list sort of on your PS4. And then you can see who you played with via matchmaking. And maybe you already saw it if you got Risu's outfit in the New Game Plus mode, but there are some clipping issues going on right now, and Brian from Sucker Punch already confirmed that they will fix this in an upcoming update. But yeah, the first thing we of course tried after installing this new patch was that nightmare farm tactic I showed you in a previous video. And that has sadly been fixed. So you cannot sadly go into a nightmare mission anymore, take yourself out by running outside of the level and then still get a gear item even if the reward menu shows nothing. Like, that was obviously not intended, so they removed it with this update. So right now the best farm tactic is still the servered hearts on silver and then gold to in the end get to key 100 and higher. And I will by the way talk about the new nightmare challenges that just appeared in a second, but first let's talk about the raid. Because Sucker Punch now confirmed that 100 key is the absolute minimum before you attempt to take on this challenge. It again releases on October 30th, so really perfect, like before all the big November releases. We of course already see the raid in the challenge menu, and now we learned that there will actually be no matchmaking for this activity whatsoever, so you really need to find 3 other players to do this challenge with. And I learned from my interview with Darren Bridges, the lead on Legends, that you will really need to communicate, but also have patience to overcome the encounters. There are 3 raid chapters, and to complete them all for the first time, it will probably take multiple hours if you don't know what you're doing. While if you do understand the tactics and got a good team, it can probably take you 1 hour to complete the full raid. But there also seem to be side challenges that you can chase, like in the feats section we see the special raid tab here, with the special raid armor sets you can get. You can already see what they look like in the appearance menu of your class. So the body for each class is just a reward for completing one of the raid chapters. But if you complete the chapter including all the hidden chests, then you actually get the helmet as well. And the requirements for the chapter 2 armor sets are the same, so we already get like really cool cosmetic rewards for completing the raid once. But for the chapter 3 hat, you do not have to get hidden chests. Instead you have to make sure that you complete chapter 3 without any ghost reaching 5 stacks of corruption, likely a debuff that the raid boss can do. So maybe high chance that chapter 3 is just a boss fight against EO, and we of course already got a small piece of what that will look like from the art book they released, where we actually see 2 faces of this likely pretty hard encounter. We can play the raid as many times as we want by the way, also after finishing it once, but just like the nightmare challenges, it will have 1 weekly item per chapter that you can only get each week. For the nightmare challenges, that is a 110 item. The max gear scores should be 120, so I would not be surprised that the weekly item for each raid chapter will be a 120 guaranteed item. So yeah, you got 1 full week to rank up, get a better build together, maybe like find some people to play with, And another way to like really prepare are of course the nightmare challenges, and we now actually got 2 new ones. The survival is in the village, and the story mission is the Tale of Uchitsune, so the one in the springs. And we already completed it on stream. You can rewatch it if you want by clicking the link in the pinned comment. And yeah, it is a tough one for sure. And that's mostly because of the Poison Cloud's modifier that is active, which means that every time an enemy dies, they will leave a poison cloud on the ground. So you have to be careful for that, because otherwise your screen will of course be kind of blurry and your character will stop moving as well. Healing will of course help you get out of the poison, so having a healing gourd or other items that heal you will really help you out. Having the Ronin class in your team, or actually playing the Ronin class, is great in this activity. And I also recommend using the healing aura instead of the wolf, and of course that you can heal with your ultimate. The poison clouds are really annoying in chapter 3 because there you have to defend a circle, so you have to stay in that, otherwise the enemies will capture it. So making sure that you kill enemies outside of the circle is actually super helpful, so that they don't create these poison clouds inside the circle. But overall, this mission is of course all about the spirit bow and hitting enemies with that first to be able to do more damage. Like especially now in Nightmare, you want to hit them first with this bow, otherwise it will be pretty hard to nuke them. A tactic that is super important is shooting the same enemy with the bow 2 times. So every player is shooting the bow at the same target and then sneaking up to them to easily take them out. Also, shooting enemies with the bow 2 times will knock them on the ground, so you can do the nice square move to easily finish them off. But yeah, communicating about the spirit bow and syncing is super important. For the nightmare difficulty, you have to complete all the extra objectives, including the Oni treasure. These treasure actually spawn with a disciple enemy, so totally take that out first, of course, before you take out the other enemies. And the scrolls can, I think, only be found in chapter 2, but in 3 different locations. One is in the first building that you have to clear, and in this nightmare mission you actually always have the jumping puzzle. So it's like in the building where you have to do the jumping puzzle as well. In the highest room you can find the scroll. Other locations are further, so actually near the gate when you complete the chapter. One is near the like weird rock structure statue thing, and it can also be in a smaller building close by that statue. Actually, as you see right here, small building, go inside and then you will find the scroll. And when you go outside, it looks like this. And what we noticed during the nightmare missions is actually a new addition, a new secret change after this update. You can namely find drums and these arrow reveal spots in between chapters. Like, I don't think they were there before, right? And it actually seems to be different per difficulty. So we tried every difficulty in the Severed Hearts mission and found none of these in between gates when going from 1 to 2 on bronze. On silver we actually did find the arrow refill spot, that of course also gives you health. And on gold we actually only found the arrow refill spot again. So maybe it's different per level and also per like chapter you go to. The difficulty does seem to have an impact. Maybe it's only that on Nightmare you only find these drums. But let me know what you figured out in the comments down below. Or you can of course also email me to the input@JorRaptor.com email address. Also of course if you found some other secret changes and anything else. Subscribe for way more on Ghosts of Tsushima. A like on the video would really help the channel out. I cannot wait for the raid. We'll of course cover it here and stream it here as well. So I hope you can watch it next week. And totally check out my most recent Ghosts of Tsushima video by clicking on the screen on amazing items that you totally want to get in the game. For now, I will speak to you next time and goodbye.